Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about how we can take our melodies and start to develop them into a more elaborate piece of music. So I've got the melodies that I wrote for the last sheet. I had a go at continuing and done the last couple of melodies with those same rhythms. And I've also got the next sheet with some chords. Now we're still in C major, no sharps and flats, but I've made a score this time using the piano and flute to play the melody. So here are all the chords in the key of C major. Now a chord obviously is just a combination of notes. It could be any combination of notes together, but we talk about chords in music generally as being built up of triads. Now there is a slightly complicated reason for this to do with something called the harmonic series, but suffice to say that when we're talking about chords, we are starting from the point of view of describing them based on 3-note chords called triads, and these are the triads of C major. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to copy and paste in one of my melodies into this sheet, and then we're going to have a go adding some harmonies, some chords to go along with the melody. I paste it in underneath here, and for the moment I'm going to leave my example chords there because I'm just going to copy and paste these chords in underneath, and eventually I might get rid of this first bit, or might copy and paste the whole thing into another score eventually, it doesn't matter. So here's our melody, this time on the flute. And now I'm going to try and put some of these chords together with that melody. Now, there's no rules to do this, so we have to use our ears, but there are certain sort of guiding ideas. The most obvious thing to do, first of all, is to look at the note that we've got in our melody and find a chord that has that note in it. So the first note of the melody is a C, and we've got a few chords that have C's in them. We've got the first chord, obviously, of C major. That's got a C in it. We've also got this chord here, F. That's got a F major. It's got F, A, and C in it. We've also got this chord here, which is built on an A. It's an A minor triad. That's got an A, C in the middle, and an E at the top. So those are the obvious ones to go for. So I'm going to try this first one, C major, copy it and paste it and see what it sounds like. Fits nicely with the beginning of my melody. Note C fits in with the C major chord. Now, the other thing we have to think about is how often we want the chords to play. So in my example, I've got 2 chords to a bar, and that would be kind of fairly logical with my melody, but there might be times when I want to have more than that. I might want to have the chords changing every single beat, or sometimes maybe one chord lasts for longer, a whole bar. There's, again, no particular rules, but for this example, I'm going to have another chord here on the 3rd beat of the bar, and this time the note in my melody is an F. So let's have a look for the F. Now this chord is going to go from F, the melody goes down, F, E, down to D. So I might look at all of those notes and think, well, this chord here, D minor, D, F, and A, it's got 2 of those notes in it, so that might fit quite well. So let's see what that sounds like. So far, so good. Let's have a look at the next bar. Now, this note in the melody goes back to a C again, the same note as we had at the beginning. So we could harmonize it. We could put the same chord that we had at the beginning in here, and it would work, but maybe not that exciting. So I'm going to choose another chord that's got a C in it. So let's see how this one sounds. This is an F chord. It's got F, A, and C. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm not 100% sold on that F chord, but I'm going to leave it there for now. The next note in the melody is an A, and that is also in that F chord. So that works for the whole of that bar, and there's a rest at the end. So we might just make that chord last for the whole of that bar. See what that sounds like now. Not bad, not bad. So let's keep going and see if we want to change anything about that chord later on, but we'll keep going for now. So the next part of our melody, G, A, B, is going up. And if I look at my chords, I've got a note here, which is G major. It's got G, B, and D in it, and that's two of those notes in our melody. So I'm going to try that one. Yeah, again, it's not the most incredible chord you've ever heard in your life, but I'm going to leave it there for now, see what it sounds like at the end. We've got that G chord here, the next two notes, C, F. So again, the obvious chord might be this F major, because it's got both of those notes in it, C and F, as well as an A, so let's try that one. Sounds okay so far. Let's just try and finish this last bar. Let's see what happens here. We're going down in a sort of little run. We've got G, E, D down to C, and then we finish on a G chord. So going to have a go at, what should we put in there? Well, we could put a C chord. So C major has got C, E, and G in it. That's this first chord here, and that's three of those four notes, so definitely going to fit with that melody. And then the last note, the G, the C chord would still fit with that. It would also fit with a G major chord as well, because that's obviously got the G in it. But that last note, G, I'm going to try a different chord, one we haven't had before. I'm going to try this E minor chord here that's got a G in it as well in the middle of that chord. See what that sounds like. So now my full melody with the chords sounds like this. Okay, so that sounds okay. The only one that I think stands out for me that I'm not really happy with is this C chord here. So I'm just going to see if I can find a different chord that might work in that penultimate place. So we've got our G, E, D, C going down. What else could we put in there? Let's try moving that to G major chord maybe. Yeah, I like that slightly better. Okay, so we've got our chords underneath our melody line there, and it's already making our music sound a little bit more interesting. There's just a couple of other little quick things that we might add to fill out the music a little bit and also make it a little bit smoother. So the first thing I'm going to do is in the left hand part, the bass clef of the piano, I'm going to add in the root note of each of those chords. That means the bottom note of the triad, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C in these examples. So here we've got a C, a D, going up to an F, G, back to F, back to G, and an E. And in fact, in this bar, of course, we should have a semi-brief. Just adding in those bass notes adds a little bit more depth to the music, so now it sounds like this. And I'm also going to experiment with trying to smooth out these chord changes. So instead of always jumping in triads, we can keep the same notes but move them up or down an octave to make the progression from one to another a little bit smoother. For example, I can take this C at the top of this chord here and move it down an octave. I'm going to press Control and then the down arrow. And that's the same chord because it has the same three notes in it, F, A, and C. And now the C is at the bottom. And that changed the way that the chords flow. It'll just make it a little bit smoother. We do the same thing with this G chord. I'm going to move that D down. I do that the first time, but maybe not the second time. So now, I think with this last chord, I put the E on the top. Yeah, sounds better balanced to me already. I'm also going to just space out the music a little bit more by moving some of the bass notes lower. So we still got a fairly basic sounding piece of music. We've not got much interesting going on rhythmically, and now talk in another video about how we can think about making the rhythm of our pieces a little bit more exciting. But we're starting to build something that could develop into a more elaborate piece of music. So have a go at putting some chords into your melodies, experiment, and again, just trust what you hear and find something that you like the sound of. Best of luck.